Relationships aren't always sunshine and rainbows. Just like in nature, you can't have rainbows without a little rain.
Journey with us,
Shani Goodson
and Dr. Sunjata as we share stories and insights about our thriving, unconventional love life and our unique take on relationships and consensual non-monogamy. What up, what up, what up, what up?
Hey, what's going on? Good morning.
Welcome to another episode of SunShan and Rainbows. We're excited to have another interview episode for everybody. We know y'all been digging these interviews, so we're excited to bring another one to you. And we're excited about today's guest. This is one of the most dynamic people that I know, that I follow on social media, Miss Desireé Stevens. So let me tell you a little bit about Desireé. Desireé is a dynamic educator, counselor, and community builder dedicated to liberation through decolonization and whole self healing. As the founder of Make Shift Happen and creator of the Liberate framework, she helps individuals and organizations dismantle systems of oppression, foster inclusive spaces, and embrace sustainable transformation. What's happening, Desireé? How you feeling today?
I mean, you just made me sound so amazing. I'm like, who is he talking about? Oh, it's me. It's me. I'm feeling great. It's a beautiful day out here. I'm excited to be with you guys. I love the work that you guys do in the sphere where you both exist. So I feel honored to be here. I think that both of you are just as dynamic, and I am a fan too. So it's like really like this fangirl thing that's happening here. So thank you guys for having me here.
Oh my goodness. Love, love, love.
Yeah, a lot of fangirling. If you follow Desireé online, you know it's fun, it's funny, it's educational, it's punch you in the face. Okay, she be coming with it. I feel you changed your cover photo that time to like, this is not a love and light page. You know, we slap bitches and do shadow work. I was like, yes, that is summarizes Desireé right there.
Pretty much. I like that. Yeah. I like people to know, right? Like, cause they'll find me at Substack, right? Where I'm like, oh, let's talk about these things and let's break down this stuff. And it's a little bit more educational, right? And then I invite them to Facebook and I'm like, I want you to know that Facebook is my living room. This is where I get to be a menace, right? Like, so like when you come to my Facebook, you're definitely coming into my house where I am terrorizing people. And that brings me joy.
We have that in common. I too am a menace on social media. So I love that. Be all intellectual on Substack, but don't come over in Facebook expecting
No, we shaking ass, smacking people and yelling. I'm cursing. So yeah, no, I love that. Yeah.
I love that too. That's really fun. So like, where do you live currently? And like, where are you from?
I currently live in Atlanta, Georgia, and I have lived here, 20 years now, which is insane to think about. I am from the South Bronx, baby. Turn up. I'm from the Bronx, New York City. I think that kind of comes through in everything I say and or do, which includes being a dynamic person, right? I think that the Bronx kind of gets its own little rap inside of New York. And I love being from the Bronx and representing that authenticity of, the borough in and of itself, everywhere I go.
Like, you already know I'm from New York too, so I know how that can be. Like repping it. Although I'm from Brooklyn, I feel like the B's in Brooklyn be the boroughs that rep the hardest, right?
I think
Brooklyn,
so too, and I think
in the Bronx.
Yeah, there's a little something there. Like when we get here to Atlanta, it's like, okay, where's some solidarity? But I'm like, don't you ever tell me that I'm from Brooklyn.
I know, right? Because that's all of us downtown. You all the way uptown. We're a little different. But like, what about some of your memories? What about some of your memories growing up? Relationships you saw in your childhood in the South Bronx having? Like, what was that like for you? What was growing up there like? But specifically, what was growing up there like as far as the relationships you saw the adults in your life having?
Well, that's a good one. I was not fully prepared. It was toxic, right? Because coming from the South Bronx, you're talking about all of this systemic inequality that's happening. But then it was also diverse, right? Because poverty is like what's really keeping people together in the South Bronx. So you get all the things that poverty brings, right? You're going to get addiction, you're going to get physical violence, you're going to get the outside vibe. but you also get this really deep sense of community and loyalty and togetherness. So it has an undertone of, I guess it depends on the lens that you're going to use, right? Like these people are toxic. I've seen relationships that people stay together 20, 30 years and it really didn't matter, right? Like if they're going to be out there fighting and rocking together, but they're still going to stay together. They're still like family is the tether, right? So it shaped a lot of my ways that I had to heal from and unpack in regards to relationships and creating some healthy boundaries. Like I had to learn I could love you from a distance, right? We could always be family, we could always be this and a third, we could always be connected, be it through, children, relations, or this. However, there has to be a balance in that. So that's mostly it. And I loved
Okay.
growing up in the Bronx. I have good friends and memories. But yeah, it was interesting. It was definitely
Okay.
interesting.
Okay.
Yeah.
So let me ask you this. How do you feel like those memories impacted your path to consensual non-monogamy, ethical non-monogamy, if at all?
Oh, definitely. Because they were cheating anyway, right? Like that was part of that loyalty, right? Like as long as he comes home to me and I'm like, what? I'm like, that's crazy. It's almost like you can have a conversation about this because you cheating, he's cheating. Why are we just not saying, hey, I can't be all the things that you need me to be, which I feel is a very normal thing inside of relationships, right? Nobody said I should only have one child, right? Because I won't have the capacity to love anybody else. Or that's it. Oh, Shan, now you and I are friends. I cannot be friends with any of the other friends I've built relationships with. This is it. And now you have to be all of the things. So honestly, the toxicity in it and the loyalty, right? Like finding the beauty in the toxicness. Like I love that you guys are committed. Why can't you just be like now what I would call is like an anchor partner, right? We're always going to come back to each other, but what other fulfilling relationships can we have romantically aside from just each other? Because I think a lot of those issues are coming from the idea of being forced together, right? And many of us in those situations, again, with systemic issues, you're young when you're getting together, you're teen parents, and there's a lot of growing and stuff that you need to do that doesn't happen inside of a closed, monogamous relationship and all the betrayal that's then happening from cheating. It made no sense to me when there were just different ways of existing.
Okay. So what was your early dating life like in your teens and your 20s? And did you know at that time that you were non-monogamous or polyamorous?
No, I didn't, right? And I didn't. I think this is why language is something that's so important, right? And I was a teen mom and I was married young, right? So like my first husband, like we were like, teenagers. We got married at 19 and then he moved to the Air Force. We went to the Air Force. He went into the Air Force. And like there's an expectation that military men cheat. Right. And the other women would be like, they come around and like there would be deployments and everything, and they'd be complaining. And I'm like, it's just not that serious to me, right? I just feel like I just don't understand why this is a big deal. Or you're sad about it. And like, so they couldn't understand me and I didn't have the language, right? Because there was an agreement that I was like, listen, I don't care what you do as long as you don't have anybody bother me.
Okay.
Right. Don't have no woman to woman conversation with me. Don't do that. Control whatever the hell you got going on over there and don't let nobody pick up the phone because everybody's gonna get their feelings hurt talking to me.
Okay.
But I didn't have the language to know, like, oh, well, maybe that is a form of polyamory, right? Like I think at that time, the only idea of non-monogamy was swingers, and I definitely was not that of being raised Irish Catholic. Like, what? Loose woman never. So, I did not have the language, but I think that inherently, innately, intuitively, I was always non-monogamous. I never,
Mm,
my issue was don't let me get caught with my jaw dropped.
got it. So
Always.
so so the way I hear you talking about it is that's what you said to your husband.
Correct.
How did you move? Did you remain monogamous or
Yes.
like okay, so you remained monogamous, but you were like, it's okay if you do your thing with other women. I just don't want to come into my doorstep.
Correct. And I've always been, and I think that that's a lot of like that growing up in a certain type of way, right? So being sexually monogamous is definitely a part of my own purity culture. So
Okay.
that just never the idea of like, I'm not going to go sleep with somebody else and then I'm going to come and kiss my husband. I just blew this guy. That's so weird. No. So I could not get past that purity part of it. But my relationships I have a very queer relationship style. So even my friendships are deeply romantic, right? Like, oh, Shan and I were talking about that like on Facebook, like, oh, we could just have a cuddle date. And I'm like, well, you can come over here for a cuddle date, right? Like, I've always had relationships like that. So for me, when you're talking about the construct of monogamy, the way that it's given to us, those are still relationships outside of your marriage. So I still was non-monogamous. I just have always been sexually monogamous because as monogamy is handed to us, all of a sudden this person is supposed to be the highest relationship in my life.
Yeah. Yeah.
And nothing else matters. I should forget all things except them, right? So I've always been non-monogamous, just sexually monogamous.
Interesting. I love that distinction. And I've seen you live it, and witness just and getting to know you and knowing your friend circle, et cetera. And we're gonna go a little bit deeper in that thread a little bit later. So I'm glad you
Okay.
introduced it. Um,
We're excited to announce our course and coaching program, Relationship Bliss, where we help polyamorous people transform their relationships into highly compatible, peaceful, deeply aligned, and blissful partnerships.
we do this by sharing techniques for effective communication, deeper connection, and conflict resolution. The program offers a self-paced course with 5 learning modules, 25 training videos, and live virtual coaching sessions with us, Shani and Sunjata.
Learn more at go-growdialogue.com.
So yeah, okay.
Yeah, what was your transition like because I'm assuming you kind of identify, well, you say you identify now as non-monogamous?
Yes, I would say I'm ethically non-monogamous and more of a relationship anarchist, right? I
So
think that every relationship you come to, you get to define the terms of what that looks like, right?
so
Because
how'd
I'm
you
not
get here?
opposed.
How'd you get here?
Well,
How'd you
the first,
arrive here?
yeah. No, the first marriage, like how I explained that. So like when we finally separated, I was 20 something. So like 25, right? So like now my brain is developed. So, going into that as a teenager, growing, seeing what you want, what you desire, I did not, because even though I had those feelings, I didn't have that language. Therefore, I didn't live as liberated as such, right? So I still played the role of a wife. I did all of the cooking, the cleaning, the child rearing, and he handed me his check. And we were kind of fine. Like, and I was like, I never want to do that shit again. Like, I don't ever want to do that again. So by the time we were separated and then divorced, and I'm dating and I'm seeing what that looks like. And I was like, I'm dating for fun, right? So like now I'm back in this dating scene and I'm here in Atlanta and like I was like, oh, this is fun. And I'm listening to other people and I'm like, y'all don't date for fun. Y'all
Right.
are dating to like every single one is the one. And whilst I do go, I'm in love, right? I tell people out the gate, I'm like, I start at love. Like that is where I start. Like I love you already. So let's move through that awkwardness, right? As a human, right? Very specifically, I start with I already love you, right? Or I with my friends, I'm like, I'm already in love with you. So like let's move through that weird space. And then let's see what we could build from that. Some grew into deep friendships, some were just sexual relationships, my person who became my second husband was just a cut buddy. Like, you know what I'm saying? I was like, oh, you're good for this. This is great. And I used to joke and say I have like a man room, right? Like I had my best friend, Jason, and we're still best friends. You know what I'm saying? Like we raising our kids together. That's the homie. We kicked it together, started businesses together, grew together. He actually was the one who put me on my liberation journey. I had another homeboy, Chris, and he was financially stable, right? And he was literally my friend from my first marriage. So like if I needed something around the house, he was the guy to be like, yeah, sure, I got you, Des. No worry about it. And then I had, who became my husband, Marcus, who was like, what you doing? It's Friday. And I was like, I like this life.
Yeah.
I love this life. What is this life? So that's how it kind of evolved. And then when Marcus and I decided to not, took about 3 years, and we decided like, hey, do we want to take this any further? We then, like I said, you start defining what your relationship looks like, right? I'm like, we could live together, but like still date. I'm not ready for a full-on commitment. So it kind of just grew through that relationship, to be honest with you, right? Like, what does this look like for us? you and I. Fuck everybody else.
Yeah.
What are we naming and claiming?
Okay.
And, so I'm assuming that for most people, you kind of looked monogamous, right?
Oh yeah. I mean,
So
the whole fucking family setup looks very cis, hetero, it's very much. But like I said, it's queer. My life is queer as fuck.
do your like people close to you, like your family, do they know about that?
Yeah.
And how do they like react? Any kind of reactions, or are they just like, that's Desireé,
Now,
whatever?
that's pretty much it with everything that I do, right? I love
That's
my
how I
family.
feel too.
I love there's nothing I could do that my family is not going to be like, that's Des. Like,
Same.
so no, they've never, and it wasn't, but to be fair, I never, and they still wouldn't, right? Like, yeah, no, I never had to integrate multiple partners or do any of that kind of stuff. No, they wouldn't. My family loves me and supports me in pretty much every breathing, waking moment that I do.
So going into your second marriage, was it a similar conversation for him around if you do, you're free to do what you want to do, but just don't bring it to my doorstep type of conversation as well?
No, that was not that. Because it was different. Because we started off as just cut buddies. Like realistically, like I slept with him through two of his own girlfriends. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like so I was the person who was like, I'm living free. You have commitments and you have other things that you are dealing with, and you got to figure that out on your own. And that's none of my business.
Hmm.
When it came down to us, and because it was such a foreign concept to him, right? Now we're talking about different, backgrounds completely. He is a whole Southern Black boy. And, like, what? This is the craziest shit I've ever heard of, right? So it evolved. Our relationship truthfully evolved from we could live together and date and like do whatever you're doing. I'm going to be doing whatever I'm doing. Until it was serious and he was talking about wanting kids. And I was like, okay, that's where we gotta back this up. And we
Okay.
have to go into a different construct, right? I was like, okay, so what that looks like now, because now you're adding, you want people that we're responsible for. And that's a new dynamic, right? So we had to tighten that up and close it up for him to understand. I'm like, no, for you to want this. I've been married and have kids. I've
Right.
done this. But if this is what you want to do your first time around, we got to close that up. So you're going to have to get on that phone and let folks know, this is what I'm doing.
Hmm.
And so we tightened that up until it was solidified with what we were choosing, and then started opening up in different sorts of ways. And for me, I still remain sexually monogamous because it really just is a part of who I am as a person. Like I don't have the energy to be with multiple partners sexually. I really just don't.
Yeah.
Um,
And how did that
so
vibe in
it
your, how did
evolved.
that vibe? Let me ask you this really quick. How did that vibe in your marriage in terms of you continue to have the other men in your life that were more platonic, but they were still, from the way you explained it before, deep, meaningful relationships?
That wasn't easy. That wasn't easy, right? Because again, the way monogamy is handed to us, there was a point in time where I was confronted about my friend. He was like, yo, come on, I'm gonna go to a house in the park or whatever. And, my husband was like, no, the fuck you not. And I'm like, oh, we just hit a bump in the road. We need to have a conversation, right? And I'm like, don't make this a choice because you're not going to like what I choose. Right? Because my friendships are deeply, and now me and him are separated, but my friend is still here, right? And that's what I have learned throughout my life. I've had friends that have survived two marriages. So
Right.
I'm not going to, right? I'm not a hierarchical person. I don't like that. Don't make me do that. I don't like to be in that space, right? It's like asking me to choose my children between them, right? Like all relationships are the same for me and they hold a deep value and do not make me have to choose. So we had to move through that, and that was really difficult. And then in the end, like they actually became really close friends. I was like, well, damn, you're not even here to see me no more, homie. What?
Okay. So y'all worked through it and he began to understand and accept you for who you are, that you're gonna have the way you explain it, queer platonic friendships
Yes.
outside of your monogamous configuration at that stage of your relationship.
Yes.
Okay.
Would you say that when you say you're sexually monogamous, were your relationships with the men, you were like emotionally non-monogamous? Is that how you
Yeah,
would?
because from what I'm understanding, from how I view it, is like, again, growing up the way I grew up, right? And like forsaking all others, right? Like underneath
Yep.
that Christian,
Yep.
Catholic, listen to that word, forsake
Mm-hmm.
all others,
Mm-hmm.
cleave to your partner, you're
Yep.
really intended to not have any sort of relationships with anyone else unless it's wildly superficial, just based
Yep.
on that one biblical idea,
Yep.
right? It's supposed to be, then it becomes, relationships become transactional. What can this person do for me? And it needs to be underneath the permission of this role of monogamy and marriage and my
Mm-hmm.
husband's thing. So, yes, I would say that I was emotionally non-monogamous based on what Christianity demands monogamy to look like.
Yes.
Mhm.
Thank you for that distinction.
No
Um,
problem.
so when did you come into along your journey as you're moving through all these things, when did you come into the language with that you now see in the communities that we both coexist in, terms like ethical non-monogamy, consensual non-monogamy, relationship anarchy, polyamory? When did those terms come into your awareness and that you start like trying them on and adopting some of them?
I would say, like, God, I could probably look it up, but I'm not gonna grab mine. So about 12, 13 years ago, I used to have a cleaning company, and I had a client. And somehow, I guess maybe I made them feel comfortable enough, right? When you're in someone's home and you start building different kinds of relationships, and being in someone's home is very intimate, no matter the capacity. If you're there on a regular basis, you will. And they were ethically non-monogamous.
Wow.
And so, they introduced me to that language. And then we wound up starting a Facebook group. It's literally called Enmo, and having like meetup groups. And I was like, oh, this is really cool. It was very it was very white though. I didn't see a lot of Black people inside of there. And I was like, cool, but what does this look like for us, right? Because now there becomes different rules or different feelings or different, like when Shan's asking me, how did your family feel about that, right? Like you're just going to have different approaches to things.
Different
So I
cultural
started
things.
cultural differences, right? So I started approaching it and learning the language through that group and
Okay.
through them. And I'm still friends with many of them from that group. And then I just started branching out and finding other, queer spaces. And I think it just always existed around me, right? Writing, poetry, just like the spaces that I moved in anyway. It's not a topic of conversation. Like to your guys' point when you were like, but it looks so cis normative, right? Like your
Yeah.
relationship. My whole life would look like that unless you knew me and you're like, oh no. Like I probably know about three solidly straight people. But what it looks like from the outside is different. So I would
Oh,
say about 12 years ago, 12, 13 years ago.
okay. Okay. And so earlier you mentioned that you identify as RA, which stands for relationship anarchist. Um, how do you define relationship anarchy?
Just like that, like through relationships through an anarchist lens, right? Like defining liberation and freedom within, right? Like I don't, again, for me, all relationships are the same. I just express myself differently in them, right? I flirt with you the same way I flirt with Shan. Like that's kind of just how I move in life, right? Like
Yeah.
that's just who I am as a person. It doesn't denote anything, or it's not intended to be disrespectful. For me, RA is deeply consensual, right? Like this is like, like I said, with a friend, what does that
Yeah.
look like outside of the confines of a Christian, monogamous way of being?
Yeah.
It extends even to children. All kids are my kids,
Yeah. Yeah.
right? Like if I'm outside in the park, no, yeah, my kids are somewhere. I'm like, listen to airport auntie. She's, you know what I'm saying? Didn't she tell you to sit down? Why are you not doing that? So for me, RA looks like defining relationships as you meet them and
Hmm.
then examining them as they grow. Like I said, like throughout this last marriage, things changed and moved and evolved. Sometimes they had to constrict, sometimes they became more expansive. And for me, it gives me more of a flow, right? Like when you say that you are polyamorous, there is an idea or like, well, what kind of poly are you? Is it kitchen table? Is it this? And where I could say RA is like, I could be in a relationship that's monogamous completely. right? Like that's also fine for me. It doesn't have to be, polyamorous. Just know that this is how I'm going to approach all relationships. Like my friendships are still going to stay the way that they are, deeply intimate to me.
Yeah. So I have a question based on how everything you shared. Um, Being that you are, let's say, sexually monogamous, and that's kind of where you land and you've kind of always been, what attracted you to the non-monogamous space? Because you could have easily got along fine staying in conventional,
No,
spaces around relationships and presenting as a monogamous person, being in monogamous relationships and just having friends.
I could, but that's restrictive. It seems like it's freedom. It's an illusion of freedom. It's an illusion of choice because we're not having these conversations. Because how do I know I don't want to sleep with my friend?
Okay.
That's a conversation that could come up. You know what I'm saying? Hey, maybe I'm feeling really vulnerable right now. And this person is, maybe I just want to make out with this person and I don't want to feel shame around that. Maybe I just want to be held by this person and I don't want to feel shame around that. And the truth of the matter is that monogamy as the construct that it is does actually not allow for that. So you cannot exist in that construct and live freely, no matter what it may look like.
So you basically have been in practice sexually monogamous, but you're open to whatever
Yes.
organically happens. That's how I heard that.
Yes. And you heard it right, right? It's
Okay.
just I just haven't had
It
now
hasn't,
when
yeah, you
now
haven't
when
been
I'm
inspired.
dating, right, it just hasn't happened, right? Now
Yeah.
when I'm dating, I have no problem. I will date multiple people and be having sex with multiple people if that opportunity happens to come up. But as somebody who's just been partnered and parenting, I think that that's another huge, you know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah.
I spent 15 of my 10 of my 15-year relationship pregnant and or nursing.
Yeah.
Like I
Mhm.
just getting laid somewhere else. I was touched out. He's lucky he
Very
got some.
relatable.
You know what I'm saying? So like realistically, doing RA and now being single, what does that look like? You know what I'm saying? I will probably approach that differently. I don't have plans on having more children. So that changes and shifts even in my own mind. I don't
Yeah.
necessarily plan on being married and coming home to someone. So that can change all of that. But yes, you heard it correctly. Like if the opportunity came up, I did not want to have to deal with feelings around, what did I do? How did this? I don't want to deal with that, right?
Hmm.
Like I want to have a conversation and be like, hey, so this happened. If that's the way we decided that we're going to do that.
Hmm.
Yeah. And to level set for our listeners, like this is a very emergent thing for you because you're just coming out of your marriage into more of a separation space within the last, what, year or two?
It'll yeah, 2.5 years. Because actually, the post that I shared today about RA and then saying, you guys, I actually had mentioned my husband, and I was like, damn, we ain't been separated 3 years yet. Yes. Shit. So it'll be 3 years in January. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. And like you mentioned, you had young children. So it's like those responsibilities, then being in like a single mom situation for the last 2.5 years doesn't leave much room for dating, etc. But what I hear
Right.
you saying is as you're coming into and figuring all this out,
You free. You
yeah,
open.
you're free, you're open. And
Yeah.
if anyone meets you and they're interested in dating you, they need to know that you are this person who identifies as a relationship anarchist and you don't want to be tied down. Even if you get into a situation where you agree to be sexually monogamous, that don't mean that you're not going to have other deep emotional relationships
Correct.
that could be with any gender
And the possibility of sex is
and the
on the table.
possibility of sex.
Correct.
Got it. Got it.
Right. And I consider my children part of my polycule, if you will, right? I am
Yeah.
polysaturated. I have 3 kids
Girl,
Facts.
at
you ain't
home.
never lied. I say this
Right?
all the time. I'm like, I wake up in the morning and I'm already in 3 relationships. Like just
Yeah.
just every day,
I'm
immediately.
sleeping with 2 people
Three
right now in my
high
bed.
contact, close proximity relationships
Hmm.
with
You feel
separate
me?
people.
And
Woo.
like, and you guys see me online, my kids, they are quite literally individuals, right? So like they have three very distinct needs and ways of being. So like I'm already in a very deeply intentional polycule with me and my kids.
Hmm.
Yeah.
So
So
it's really difficult to bring anybody else in.
I felt that.
yeah. So so what has emerged in this conversation, which is really beautiful, is just you have totally just deconstructed, how people hold conventional relationships, like you said, with the person that they are let's say, boyfriend, girlfriend, partner, husband, wife with is like on a pedestal, and that relationship is supposed to be in a monogamous context. They're supposed to meet every need. Supposed to be their best friend, their lover, their confidant, etc. That's the only person they're supposed to date and have, just be super close to all these different things. The way that you just spoke and the way you presented everything that you presented is literally the definition of relationship anarchy, just by you even bringing your children into it as well. And talking about those relationships, like all these relationships are relationships and they're valuable to you.
Yeah.
And at different times, they're going to need and require different things of you. None of those relationships are more important than the other, etc. That's the definition of relationship anarchy. That's how I identify with a lot of the relationship anarchy principles as well. And you're really living it. So let me ask you this. I think you kind of answered it, but is it safe to say, if I asked about like your current, I feel like you answered your current relationship dynamics. Are you dating? Let's say that. Are you dating romantically right now? Let's put it that way.
I wish I were, but I don't like people enough, right? Like, no. I am not. And I don't know if I ever do. Right? Like, because I allow relationships to just simply evolve. And so I can't say that I am. Am I outside? I'm in these streets though. You know what I'm saying? I am outside. I wouldn't call anybody like my man or anything like that if that were the case, right?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
no. One, no. It's woeful out here. Okay. You guys are so lucky. It's woeful.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's
So
woeful.
so
But I'm outside.
basically what I hear is like you just meet people and you let things emerge and land where they land.
Yeah, pretty much.
Like
Right. Like
that's true RA style. True
yeah,
RA
I don't know
style.
where it's gonna go. You know what I'm saying? Like Shannon and I go out for coffee. I don't know. She may be my girlfriend in 3 months. Could happen. Who knows? Right? Like so. Let's make a coffee date, girl. So I don't know, but I am outside. I am open to the possibility and the potential of something growing and emerging.
Yeah.
But I just don't think that. I think that we have a very small circle. And so why people wind up all dating, we're all dating each other sort of thing is because when you step outside of that, even though like to Shan's point is when you step with this idea that it is, like they're going to see me, oh, the single mother who's been married, right? Like I come off as very cis, had, monogamous, and we're going to do these things. And I'm just like, ew, I don't know. Like, no,
I just,
that's not.
you really, I love the way you've been talking about this because one of the things I try to write about and have tried to talk about on this show too is how, for me, non-monogamy is really just an expression of liberation. It's just like a tool. It's just not even a tool. It's just an expression. It's just like how I move. I'm not polyamorous. I'm not intentionally, oh, I
Right.
have to have multiple people in my life. That's not what I'm on. And I hear you saying that too. And there's
Yeah.
sometimes where I'm like, no, I am sexually monogamous. And there's other times when I'm like, I'm not. I just want the freedom. I just want to know that I can choose the path I want with very little resistance, no shame, and just be my authentic self. So the way you
Yes.
present that really aligns with how I feel about non-monogamy. So I really appreciate that. I really appreciate you giving that and the way it all unfolded. You weren't like telling us, you were kind of describing it. So I really hope that whoever is listening, you will use this every time you hear me say that polyamory and non-monogamy is about liberation. I hope you remember this interview, this conversation, because this is what I'm talking about.
Yeah, because that's it. I think you nailed it right there. I just want the choice. I don't want the illusion of choice. I don't want to need to have a divorce in order to fucking explore my life. I don't want to, not parent my children in order to date. I just want to live and allow, right? Like truthfully be liberated. I don't know where it's going to go. And having just better communication styles, like, and because things can end too, right? Like it's okay. It's run its course. That's the time now. That was it. It was
Yeah.
great. It's
Like
not.
we like to say everything transitions. That's just reality. Everything
Right.
transitions.
Everything. everything. It's, every single thing, right? Our children transition, our relationships, our loves, our lives. So yeah, you nailed it. Exactly.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So one thing I wanted to highlight is you mentioned a couple of times, and we've mentioned the term queer platonic, and I've heard you mention that. I see other people mention it. I hear people say we date our friends. Could you speak more about like what does queer platonic mean?
It means just that, right? Like date our friends. Like I think that if you and I went out, right, because that would be more of a scandal than me and Shani going out, right? Like from the lens, me and Shan going out is just girls having coffee, right? You and I going out, he may be potentially cheating on a partner. Like there's a whole lot of weight that goes to that because of these systemic ideals, right? But why can we not just be friends? Why can I not just enjoy your company and not want to sleep with you? And then even if I wanted to sleep with you, why does that need to denote a relationship change of any sort, right? Like
Right.
for me, it is like I said, back to the expression of I kiss my kids on the mouth too. It's not making out with them.
Mm-hmm.
I sleep in the same bed with my children, like as co-sleeping. I'm not having sex with them. Like it's so it's all intimate, right? When people get weird about bodies and things, I'm like, I breastfed for over 10 years of my life. My tits are still sexual. Like these, people have come out of my vulva. People come in it also. There's this multiplicity of who we are as humans. So dating your friends is just that too. It's like taking that weight off of dating. Dating is just about being intentional and having a good time. I like my friends. I enjoy their company. I like their conversation, right? Shani and I went to have coffee and I hated that it ended.
Yeah.
Is that no different than if I were supposedly on a date with a guy? Damn,
Yeah.
this was a good time. I wish it didn't end. We should do this again. Same language, same feelings, same body chemicals going off. And I think that we should really value our friendships. Like I said, I've had friendships that have outlasted 2 marriages.
Yeah.
Why do we not treat our friendships as something that's valuable too? I've had such deep relationships. We've co-parented, we've raised children together, we've held each other through family loss. I just don't see how that's any different than my marriages have been.
Wow. You just broke down so much juicy complexity and nuance in that. Um, and understand like for the way I understand the way a lot of people use queer, some people think about it as just a something that denotes sexual orientation. And
Yes.
then some people use queer to denote like going against the norm, going against convention, or let's say complexity and fluidity. And I feel like the what you just explained kind of holds queer as in that light. It's like queer platonic in that it doesn't have to just be what you think platonic is. It
Right.
holds the multiplicity and the various nuances and complexities of what a friendship relationship can be. Like you said, it could be strictly platonic, but one day we have sex and we're back to and it doesn't change the nature of the relationship. We
It
could sleep in the
shouldn't.
bed together and just cuddle, and it doesn't change the complexity, and we're still just friends. Like that's kind of what queer platonic means. Is like it could be a mishmash of a lot of things, and the baseline is love and relationship
And connection.
and
How
connection.
we choose to connect is going to shift, right? Like you
Yeah,
came
it could
on
be
introducing
fluid.
me as dynamic. And I think that we need to embrace being dynamic more. We are dynamic. We are not static beings, right? Even in our relationships that we're choosing daily living in and out. Every day is not, I used to say like every day when my then husband, we got together because our cut buddiness happened on Fridays. And when we were discussing moving in together, I was like, check this out. We could do that, but every day ain't gonna be Friday.
Hmm.
Right. Like that was every day is not gonna be Fridays. Because when you come over here for Friday, we rolling up, we gotta sip, and we're gonna cut
Hmm.
and scene. And we go and we have no shared responsibilities, ain't no bills, ain't no kids. Every day is not going to be Friday, right? So, like, I think that we go into relationships with this idea that it's always going to be static. It's always going to be Friday. And it's like, it's going to change, right? It's going to be dynamic, especially if you're talking about being in any sort of relationship for a long time. You have illness, you have aging, you have ability, you have, mental health load, whatever is going on, it's going to change. It's going to shift. And if you can meet those shifts where you are, right? And being dynamic in them, like to your point, if maybe today is just a cuddle day, maybe today is a sex day, maybe today is a no talk day. I don't know. But I just know that I have to fully show up in every moment that I'm in. And that's the best that I could offer, right? Like that's
Yeah.
all I got for you.
Yeah, yeah. And this is a great transition into like just how the work you do in the world intersects, with this whole conversation we've been having and how you live your life.
I think that's like what I was talking about earlier, how you really are using this relationship anarchy philosophy as just like an expression of your liberated self. Just this is what I'm choosing, and every day is different. And, the most constant thing in life is change. I think that whole, that loving detachment, that kind of like, that detachment that's really connection, like disguised as connection. It's like,
Yeah.
I'm with you, I'm showing up, but I might show up differently tomorrow. And let's be cool with that.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
with that,
And that's it. God, you nailed it. I love the way you understand me.
so with that in mind, could you share with our listeners like your work,
Yeah.
who you are in the world, and how they could connect with it if they're vibing with it with you?
So in my mind, I was like, bitch, I'm me. I was like, but that's it. That's it. So the work that I'm doing and being so deeply intentional about is liberation work, right? Like finding it when I first started out speaking, not actually living the work of liberation work, people automatically, back to that pinhole. People need to tell you what your relationship is or how they relate to you, really. And people were like, oh, she's an anti-racism educator. And I'm like, oh, who said that? That's not what I said. I said I'm anti-oppression, right? So my job is about finding all of those systems of oppression, how they intersect. And, like what I like to call it is like the intersectionality of liberation, right? Where are these things meeting? I love that Shan just turned around and was like, this healthy detachment. I used to think that that was a bad thing about me, right? I used to sit down and feel really like, people like, oh, you don't really care because you could lose people at any time. That's a trauma response. And I'm like, maybe it is, and I mean, I did examine that too, right? Like I had a lot of loss in my life. My dad died young, my grandmother, like I had, my mom's mom, like, I had a lot of loss. But I think that when I sat down and really sat with it and unpacked it, is that loss taught me to really just appreciate the time that I have with the people that I love, right? I had amazing memories with all three of those people, but they were formative relationships that I lost very young. And it did give me an unhealthy attachment style, right? And then I healed that. And I think that that's the same with liberation work, right? Like we are given these constructs, we are told this is how you're supposed to live, we're handed this. And I think that our work is to unravel that, unbox it, and get free from it. Like, oh, this box is not comfortable. And that's really what my work is about. That's why it's like whole self healing, right? You're not going to stop being a racist because I give you a whole bunch of Black trauma. Okay, if that were true, racism wouldn't exist. There's been plenty of Black trauma played out through media throughout the centuries in one way or another. You're only going to become an anti anything if you work on what you are oppressing in yourself. Right? Like, how are you oppressing yourself? Once you get so free, you're going to be like, I don't want nobody. Wait a minute.
Facts.
Oh, I'm doing me. I want you to do you too. I want that for you. God, it feels so fucking good to wake up and just be who I am. And I want that for everybody, right? I want you to wake up and feel authentically yourself. I want you to feel dynamic. I want you to, like to Shan's point, to feel like today is not how I'm going to show up. I'm not showing up like that. I don't got it, right? And being honest and true to yourself. And in that way, you start dismantling all of the systems around you.
Indeed, indeed. And where would you like people to follow you if they're interested in taking in your work?
Yeah, my name, DesireeBStevens.com. It will direct them right to their Substack. And through Substack, I funnel people to other places and spaces. Right
Okay.
now, I am working on the Liberation Education Academy. Ew, turn up. But yeah, DesireeBStevens.com is going to be the easiest and always, Brand the
Awesome.
name. Brand
Yeah,
the
yeah.
name.
And we'll add
Definitely
that.
put that in the description.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah, yeah. Okay. So man, this has been so enlightening and really exciting because it's such I love how we get different experiences that we're able to share with our audience and how people show up in this space. And yours has been completely different than anyone that we've interviewed in any way.
True, except for me, because this has been very affirming for me because you and I, we write about so much the same stuff. We think so much in the
We
same ways.
do.
We have similar approaches, even the way that we like approach liberation. I feel like it's like so similar, you know. Some people
It is.
approach it through different lenses, and I think you and I have such a similar lens. I really like appreciate that. So it's just affirming, encouraging. I really appreciated this conversation.
Well,
Yeah,
thank
yeah, yeah,
you. I
yeah.
love you. I do. I do.
So we like to always end the show with what we call our sunshine and rainbow story. And this is a where we're going to ask you what's your sunshine and rainbow story. And that's a time in your ethical, consensual, non-monogamous journey when you endure some challenges. We call that the rain. And then later on, after some time had passed and things improved, you gain some perspective. That's the sunshine. And we're able to recognize the lesson or area of growth. That's the rainbow. Do you have a sunshine and rainbow story that you can share?
Christ almighty. That's like so heavy. You should email people that first.
I believe in
All
you. I believe in you. You can pull something up.
right. Give me what's the sunshine again? Or how
So,
what is this? Rain? What?
so some challenges. So in your non-monogamy journey, right?
Okay.
You endured a challenge. And then later you gain some perspective, and that was the sunshine. I'm sorry, yeah, that was the sunshine. And
Okay.
then after that, you were able to recognize the lesson or area of growth. That was the rainbow. But we could start with the rain. Let's start with the rain, a challenge.
I'm gonna say I think just actually getting the language for it, right? And the challenge, of getting to that language.
Okay.
That in and of itself, right? Because like I said, it was just always weird to people because again, I was together, as a teenager, people are definitely not thinking the way that we are thinking and living. And I was like I said, like, look, hey man, just don't let that shit come knocking at my door, right? Do what you gotta do, but you have to take care of your responsibilities and don't ever let me get caught with my jaw dropped. Period, point blank, full stop. But if I had better language, it would have been. So that honestly, in the entirety of the journey, from the start to the current,
Okay.
language usage, right, would be the challenge. And then the sunshine is what's next. Like, what's the
Yeah. So
lesson here?
basically, like getting that language was the sunshine. That was you gained some things improved after you gained that language and these words and different, how to talk about these things. That was like your sunshine.
It was because then I was able to explain that to other people, right?
Okay.
Like, oh, you don't care if your man, and I'm like, and because it's hard. It's even difficult with the language. It's not that I don't care what he does. It's not that I don't. One of the biggest fucking things is you don't have value in yourself. I'm like, men come in socks. I'm not. I what? Like, that's not the biggest flex in the world, is that he only wants to sleep with me, right? Like, I'm like, I'd much rather him value so many other things about me than some gash, Like, so that was also that challenge, right? So having the language to then do that, having that sunshine moment, and the rainbow for it is coming out on the other side, recognizing that my worth is not at the tip of somebody else's cock. You know what I'm saying? Like,
I
that's
love it.
not what makes me valuable
Yeah.
in this world, right? It's
Mm,
it's just it's just sex. Like, it's just another expression of love
yeah.
in a
Yeah.
different way, that if we liberated ourselves from it being a value system, I promise you people would be having much better sex. And considering 78% of women are not having orgasms with cishet men, I challenge them to rethink their value being on the edge of someone's cock.
Man, I
There goes
love
my
it.
rainbow.
I love it. Love it. Love it. Love it. Love it.
And on that note, I feel like that is a great way to end this because dang it, if that's not something I would see you post, like that's you. That was great.
Damn, that's
That
it.
that was the Desiree experience right there. And I let folks let that marinate. Some folks don't need to listen to that. Rewind it a few times to catch all the nuggets you just put in that last, little soapbox you were on. Desireé, thank you. We love you. We appreciate you. So happy you've come into my world. I've been able to learn so much and see so much and admire so much. Your capacity for putting out content that moves people and punches people in the gut and makes them think. And you hit them in different ways, you know, and it's oh man, just so you're so talented, you're so gifted, and it's just been amazing to watch you do what you do. And I'm excited that our audience has gotten the chance to be introduced to you. So thank you for, carving out this time for us.
Yes.
Thank you. Thank you. I have a mutual respect for both of you, your work, and how you show up in the world. So I appreciate this moment and this time also.
No doubt, no doubt. And to our listeners and those of you watching on YouTube, thank you all again for being with us. We hope that you enjoyed this episode. And as always, until the next time, we love y'all. Peace. That's a wrap for this episode of SunShan and Rainbows. We hope today's conversation sparked some new insights, deep reflections, or just gave you a fresh perspective on love and connection.
We'd love to hear your thoughts. Drop us a comment, send us your questions, or share your own experiences. We might even feature them in a future episode.
And don't forget to subscribe to SunShan and Rainbows on YouTube and your favorite podcast platform so you never miss an episode. And if you're vibing with us, please like, comment, share, and leave a review. It helps others find the show and keeps these conversations going.
Want more sunshine and rainbows? Follow us on Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok at SunShan Rainbows for daily insights, behind the scenes moments, and updates on future episodes. You can get more in-depth and intellectual with us on our Substack, sustainablesolutionsmedia.com. If you like what we're saying over there, consider becoming a paid subscriber to support all our liberation and anti-oppression efforts.
As always, thank you for rocking with us. We so appreciate the love and support. Until next time, we love y'all. Peace.